Everybody, thanks for joining the Grit Podcast. My next guest, man, we had a fun time. We met each other about a week or so ago, maybe 2 weeks ago, on his epic journey from the border of Mexico all the way to the border of Oregon. 40 days he ran across the entire state of California, which is pretty amazing. And what's even more amazing is he did it for such a great cause for the children of Gaza. And I'm just really stoked to have him here from the Bay Area. Otis Lyons, how are you?
Thanks for having me, Pete. Excited to be
Absolutely.
here.
Yeah, man. How you been? How you feeling?
Doing good. I'm doing good today.
Yeah.
Today was my first run. I think it's been 8 days since I saw you guys.
Yeah.
So it's been a lot of sitting on the couch, just trying to rest up.
Yeah. 40 days straight of running. I think you had 1 day off the entire journey on
Yeah.
like day 19 or something like that, I think.
Yep.
Right?
Exactly.
Yeah. And do you know what you averaged per day?
Just under 30. Just
Yeah.
under 30 a day. I tried to break it up into 3 runs per day. So I'd
Right.
try to do maybe 12 in the morning, 10 in the afternoon, and then whatever was left.
Yeah. So you basically did a little over a marathon every day for 39 of the 40 days
Right.
to get
Yeah.
through the state of California. Unbelievable.
Yeah. Turns out
Unbelievable.
California is pretty large.
Yeah, turns out, huh?
Yeah.
It's pretty much the entire West Coast.
Yeah.
Um, so let's go back in time here a little bit. Like, what got you motivated to take this journey on, and put it all together? Let's start with the very beginning of the planning phase. Like, what inspired you to want to do this?
Sure. Well, I think there's two sides to it, right? There's the running side and the cause. I think the running side actually came first.
Hmm.
Um, a year before, I went out to Tunisia to run the last marathon with Russ Cook for Project Africa,
The
and that was
hardest
really
geezer, as
the
everyone
hardest
knows
geezer.
him on
Exactly.
Instagram. Yeah.
Um, and so he had done, for anyone who doesn't know, he had done a 350-day, I think it was, adventure from South Africa to Tunisia, which I mean is
The whole continent.
yeah, if people are calling me crazy, I think new words need to be created for that guy. But I followed his story for uh, ever since he was on day 30. So I was following him for a year and was really invested in his story and what he was doing.
Mm,
And so I decided to book my ticket and fly out and run the last day with him. And there was hundreds of us, probably 500 people came out. Um, And it was just such an amazing adventure. We kind of called it like a festival of running,
mhm.
just a celebration of him and then a celebration of all of us. And it was really life-changing for me, and I was put in this group chat. Basically, most of the people who are out there are this huge WhatsApp group chat, and it's just this really inspirational, motivational chat. And there was another guy doing a Germany run. Another
Mm.
guy was running this big lake, and everyone had these adventures going on, and it really empowered me. It really made me think like I could do something. So that was really um, the first seed for me.
Wow. That's incredible. So did you know him before, or was just kinda like following his story and just sent him a message, say, "I wanna come all the way out to Africa and run with you." Like, how did that
Yeah,
come about?
yeah, good question. I mean, I was following him. Yeah, like I said, since day 30, I had no idea who he was. He was just
Mm.
this crazy ginger guy running
Yeah.
Africa.
Yeah. Yeah.
And, it just came about, like, the possibility that I could go. It I was doing a 6-month trip. That was my plan, was to I graduated college in 2023, and so I went home for a year with a plan of doing a 6-month trip, and, worked really hard to get money to fund my trip, and then I did that, and that was the start of my trip. And so the inspiration of like, "Hey, where should I begin this big journey of mine?" It just kind of fell into place. So I didn't know him personally. I didn't even reach out to him personally. I kind of went on Reddit, see if anyone else was out,
Yeah.
and found this guy, DM'd him, and he tossed me into the group chat. And at that point, I was like the ninth person in the group chat, and now it's at like 400 people.
Wow.
It's pretty cool.
That's incredible. Like, for those of you that don't know anything about the Hardest Geezer, you can check him out on Instagram. I followed the story too. It was amazing. I think I kind of started to find out about him. There was this video that he did where he was running through the desert. And he's like, first of all, the guy, he's ginger. He's got like this big red beard and he's running through the desert like, I'm running the coat. He's from like London. Where's he from? He's from somewhere
Yeah,
over.
Worthing. It's
Okay,
like
yeah.
southern England.
So
Yeah.
he's got that accent, and he's just like, "I'm running across the continent of Africa right now. I'm eating sand, dust in my face," and he's just like running and just eating it up. And then like I looked him up, and I was like, "Holy crap! This guy is running the continent of Africa. We're talking from the southern tip down what is like Cape Town. I don't remember like the
Yeah,
southern."
just south of that.
Yeah, and then all the way to Tunisia. So he has to cross all these different countries, and he has to have a passport for that, obviously, and get it stamped. And I think he had some trouble getting through, like, I don't know, it was Algeria or somewhere. He had
Hmm.
some issues, and then of course there's the crazy story of him being like sort of kidnapped or like ransomed out. Not, I mean, they had to like get him out of a really sticky situation at one point where he almost thought he was gonna die. That's crazy. His story is amazing. He's been on several podcasts since, and
Yeah.
also been on several other adventures since. So that was your inspiration.
Yep.
And then let's go into the planning. Like, how would you plan something like this to run across the state of California? Takes, I mean, amazing commitment. I mean, I'm sure you have a regular life, a job, all these things, and you have to put everything on hold to go do a 40-some day adventure. And did you know it was going to be a 40-day adventure getting into it or anything close to that? Like, how did you go about planning it?
Yeah. Well, I think that ties in perfectly to the cause, right?
Yeah.
I'm a 24-year-old. I was 23 when I began planning this. I have a bunch of different jobs, so I'm busy in my day to day life, but I am flexible too. So I I work a number of jobs. I coach high school soccer. I
Nice.
drive Uber. I
Wow.
tutor kids.
Okay.
Do all that kind of stuff. It's nice to keep my schedule as flexible as possible.
Hmm.
And when I knew I wanted to do this, I was like, this is the chance to do it.
Yeah.
Now I didn't have enough money to do it.
Yeah.
That's for sure. But I knew I wanted to do it to raise awareness um, for the genocide that's happening right now, and I wanted to do it for the children. I wanted to do that in some way, and so realized I had to reach out towards to NGOs, to nonprofits. I didn't want just set up just a GoFundMe and then
Hmm.
send the money because where would that money
Yeah.
go?
Right.
The best way to do it would be to go through someone reputable. Luckily, I have a family friend who is a lactation consultant who has been to Gaza 3 times now. She's a
Oh, wow.
nurse.
Wow.
She had been twice at that point. She just came back from her third deployment, and I I called her up, and she gave me some good advice, and she recommended Humanity Auxilium, which is a
Mm.
Canadian and American nonprofit that is a small organization that does outsized work over there. Um, and I literally just cold called them, and they picked up, and I said, "Hey, I want to run the length of California and raise money for you guys." And they're like, "What is that? What does that mean?" And they said, "Here, send us. Here's my email. Send me a pitch." And that was all she wrote, and suddenly they were on board with helping me. It was really special.
Wow.
They gave me all the kinds of support I needed, and um, they financially supported us, which was really good. I mean, we went through did the sponsorship thing as well, but most importantly, they financially supported me and my friend Max, who was the crew along the way, and that made it possible. And we were able to, at least as of now, we've returned about 10 times what they gave us. So I think it was a good
Wow.
investment for them as well.
Holy cow, man. So, yeah, so let's talk about that. So you get a crew together and you got some money together, you got some people that are behind you supporting it, and then you got Max to help out with
Mhm.
the crew, and I saw your brother was there for a while, right? He went through a lot of it. Your mom was there at the end, which was cool. So
Yeah.
you had a lot of support. Um, and they played a lot of different roles, of course. And then, of course, like the content you got was amazing too. Like it seems like you guys did a lot of work putting that together. I mean, you posted every day on your Instagram page. You had drone footage. You had all these different cameras and footages. You had a documentarian, I think, at one point there for a lot of it too. So there's going to be a documentary on this coming up. Is that right?
Yeah, so the crew itself, I'd say like the folks that were um that we could put on the website saying this is our crew is besides me, Max, we call him Woogies. He did the job of three
Yeah.
people. I mean, you saw what he was doing.
These are
He's
really
incredible.
cool people too. They all had really great attitudes being 40 some day, 35, 30
Oh
some,
yeah.
40 days out, on this adventure. They all seem to have really good spirits and were like super cool. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Woogies is a high school friend.
Okay.
He's from back here. I'm from Fairfax, California, which
Right.
is in Marin County. He's from San Anselmo. We went to the same high school.
Nice.
Um, he's since living in Eugene. I mean, he quit his job to come
Yeah.
down and do this.
That's what I mean. Yeah. Crazy.
He yeah, he live he lives in a van. He lives in this awesome like converted Ram ProMaster,
Yeah.
and he let me sleep on his bed. He slept on the floor for 40 days.
Jeez.
You know, cooking, doing all the like he did all the daily life activities, so I didn't
Yeah.
have to.
Yeah.
Um, he did all the filming, all the driving, all the he had to do an oil change one day, he had to go grocery shopping, do laundry. I mean, I can't say enough about the capacity that this guy has. I mean, he's
Yeah.
an incredible person and the perfect guy for the job.
Yeah.
When he said he was down to do this, I knew then and there that was the moment I knew this was possible because
Yeah.
without a guy like that, I mean, I didn't have budget for 2 or 3 people to come along.
Yeah.
So to have him put his heart and soul into it made this all possible.
That's so
That's
cool.
that's not being hyperbolic.
Yeah.
Ava she's going to be working on the documentary. Ava Nielsen, she graduated from Texas last year, so
Mm-hmm.
she's a year younger than me. And she moved to LA, and she's been really incredible. I met her. Uh, my mom's friend of a friend of a friend is her mom, and
Okay.
it was just a serendipitous like.
Hmm.
She's at dinner one night, and word passed through all the way to Ava, and she was interested in this project.
So cool.
And she's going to be helping with the documentary. She came out when I ran through my hometown, day 26. She came up out to the Bay Area, and then she came out again for the finish. She has a 9 to 5. She's
Yeah.
busy doing the LA thing.
Yeah.
She's she works in the movie or in the film industry. That
Oh, wow.
she's really adept with the social media stuff. So much of our success on that is thanks to her, even though she wasn't even editing those videos.
Yeah.
Her know-how is really important. Um, and she's gonna be working on the doc. In
Wow.
addition to all her busy life, she's putting out a music video. She's just a super talented person.
Dang.
I couldn't say enough good things about her. We and that we happened upon her was really, really lucky.
That is so cool, man. Wow.
Yeah.
Wow, what a crew. What I mean, just like the talent too. That's really cool, man. And
Yeah.
so yeah, like let's go through the adventure a little bit. So you leave, you drive down to cross the border of Mexico, right? Did you
Well,
cross
it's
it?
funny. We thought we would have to. I brought my passport and everything,
Oh,
but
okay.
I figured out a loophole,
Oh, okay.
because it's hours of wait time right now.
Oh, right.
It's the busiest border. I think it's the second busiest border in the world. Definitely the busiest American border. So
Wow.
we didn't want to put the van through that. The
Yeah, yeah,
van
yeah.
also, as
Hmm.
a background, as a through story for this whole thing.
Yeah.
The van was having trouble before we even began the
Oh,
adventure.
really? Because I know I was having trouble when I was up with you the last day. Or you guys didn't have it,
Yeah.
but oh wow, from the beginning.
Yeah, Woogie's I mean, I won't go into all the details, but because Woogie's would know more, but he was doing work on the van,
While I was going through it.
as like, we started on we started on a Tuesday. The Tuesday before that, he was like putting it apart.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
That'd be a little
Um,
nerve-wracking, to going on this adventure and being like,
yeah, man. Well, I trusted him, but anyway, we got to the border, and you just park in the little parking lot and walk up to the border.
Okay.
And the way it works is there's this gate with some turnstiles, and that's if you touch that, you're technically in Mexico. You don't have to go through customs.
Oh, no way.
So we just walked up to it,
You're still a little
touched it, put my hand right through it, and I'm like, all right, dude, I guess we can start now. So that's where the journey began.
I wonder if is that what led you? I noticed when I was running with you, you would touch a certain spot and then take a break, and then we had to go back and hit that spot and start from there. Is that what started that? Just going through there like that?
Uh,
That's funny.
it's a good
That's
question.
just
I
your
don't know
thing.
why that started. I think that's just like my mentality about it. I mean,
Yeah.
I'm sure like a lot of the people in the project or people close to me would kind of laugh at that.
Yeah, yeah.
But like I didn't want to like if I was going to run the length of California, I wanted to make sure I did every single
Yeah,
foot,
didn't skip a foot, yep.
I don't want anyone combing through my Strava, all my, 60 followers combing through my Strava to see.
Someone will. Someone's gonna be like, "Oh, wait a second."
Yeah, there's doubters everywhere,
That's
but
funny.
the biggest doubter would be myself. I wanted to make
Right.
sure I was doing it 'cause I would be the only one losing sleep over,
Uh-huh.
"Oh, in Santa Barbara, I didn't do 20 feet," you know?
Right, right, right. Yeah, totally. That would give me nightmares. I'd be like, "Oh, man."
Yeah,
Um,
exactly.
so you take off on what was the date again that you took off? It was in April? Or was it in
April
March?
1st, yeah.
April 1st. Okay, cool.
It was super easy to keep
Yeah,
track of all the days.
yeah. And did you, like, plan it in April just because, like, that would be the best weather and, like, going through it? Because I don't think you hit a lot of rain or any bad weather, really. So was April the plan all along? Like, just do it in the spring when it's not too hot and kinda manageable?
The weather, honestly, yeah, that was pretty lucky, I think, with how
Mhm.
good we had it. I mean, I think it rained one morning I was on the trip, and
Yeah.
that was pretty awesome. I was originally gonna go north to south, which wouldn't have made sense for the spring weather-wise,
Oh, okay.
um, but I decided to do it now because, like I said, I'm a soccer coach, and
Right. Oh,
we had a
okay.
season, the high school season ends in early February,
Ah.
and I started planning this, like, genuinely planning it, probably November, December, so it was like a 6-month
Mm,
process
okay.
or 6-month
Yeah.
process, and, I began my, like, official training block kinda early December, and when I was looking at it and I kinda made my plan, I wanted to give myself l time in the running side and the logistics side after I was done with the season because
Mhm.
I was putting a lot of effort into the season,
Right.
for the kids to coach those guys, and so I wanted to make sure that I had at least a couple months of where I was really this was the main priority.
So with the training, correct me if I'm wrong, I thought I heard you say this when we were running together, but had up until before leaving on this trip, what was the most mileages you ever did, like, in a race or anywhere? Like, what was it?
Uh, Dude, the most I've ever done was a 50K.
Okay,
So,
okay, so it's like
by
32 miles.
yeah,
Yeah,
but by day 2, I was like, like, when I woke up day 2, I was like, "I've never done this distance
yeah,
in the context of doing it yesterday."
yeah, exactly, and then again,
Yeah.
and then again, and again, and again, and again. That's
Yeah.
crazy. So, like,
Yeah.
so you start training in the wintertime or in December or so.
Mhm.
Did you write your own training plan? Like, what did the training plan look like? It was like slow rev up, amp up to March, let's say, or end of March, and then a taper down, or like, I mean, what kind of training did you do for this?
Yeah, I mean, I got into ultra running 5 years ago.
Hmm.
I never did cross country in high school.
Oh, you didn't? Okay.
No, I mean, I did other sports. I was
Hmm.
always running, but
Okay.
not just to run.
Yeah, yeah,
And my dad was a big time ultra runner. I can brag for him because he'd never brag for himself, but
yeah.
he's a college coach now. And so I've always
At
and
San
I would
Francisco State, right?
yes,
Just get
sir,
that
go
on there. Yeah,
Gators.
yeah.
Tom
Okay.
Lyons,
Nice. Yeah.
three-time belt buckler at Western States.
No way.
Yeah.
Awesome. That's
Uh,
killer.
I'm just bragging for him because one, he won't brag for himself, and two, I'll never be able to do that. So,
Ah, nice. I love it. That's cool.
um, but and I also raced mountain bikes
Okay.
in high school. So all that to say, I learned from him and learned from myself kind of a very unique training style. I've
Mhm.
never had a coach really train me in endurance sports. Um, I think my biggest asset is knowing my body really well, and I think I got that from him. He was the kind of guy who wouldn't look at analytics. He wouldn't look at heart rate or calories or any of that. He would just run and
Mhm.
go off his body. And he's also an engineer, so he could the analytic part was, hey, I'm going to get to this aid station at 75
Yeah.
miles in this exact time and walk right in within 3 minutes of that.
Yeah.
Um, and so I definitely got that from him, and I tried to use that to my advantage. So I didn't when I created my plan early December, I it was just, what am I doing this week? I had nothing planned by Valentine's Day or
Yeah.
anything like that. It was just, I'm gonna go out and start with a 60 or 70-mile week, see how that feels, and then go from there. Um, Vaguely, the goal was, okay, at some point I'm gonna do a 100-mile week, you know?
Mhm.
And I got up to that, and I was feeling good, um, and I was just really kinda running off vibes. And the main thing is I didn't wanna peak by April 1st because, unlike a race, I'm not going for speed, and I understood. I think the biggest thing that worked for me was understanding that it wasn't about getting through each day, it was about getting through the day and being ready for the next one.
Mm.
Um, so when I got to the start line, I was really undertrained. I mean, I was doing 200 miles a week in the run, in the California run, but I was only doing I only did a 100-mile week in my training.
Wow.
Uh,
Yeah.
so I was seriously low on miles, but I knew I just the first couple weeks was part of the training also.
Yeah.
And by by day 30, I was in the form of my life.
Yeah, totally. Well, I think I heard something said today even, most athletes, runners that are athletes, or whatever, they're basically 80% of what they do every week is base training or what they do all the time. It's like just base training. It's just like it's not like heavy, heavy miles. Even with ultras, they having 100-mile week is a lot. Even if you're running an ultra, even if you're training for like 100-miler, that's hard to do. I mean, that might be even overdoing it into a way. So like, it's good to know
Mm,
your body. Like you said, you run off of sort of intuition, off of what your body tells you.
yeah.
I think that's really important and not to be overlooked if you're trying to get into this, into ultra running or any marathon running, whatever, long distance running, let's say. Because like, I don't know, like a lot of people want to come out of the gate and just fire hard and just collect all these miles, but you got to
Mm,
be careful of your body because you could really get injured. And luckily, that didn't happen for you because 40 days on the road in California, whew, man, you got
oof.
to be real careful not to screw your body up, and because that could set you back or just end it altogether. So you were able to come through 40 days. I mean, I know you had some shin issues and some other stuff
Yeah.
going on, but you powered through all that, but luckily injury free, right? And just like,
For the most part, yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. And you sat for a week and a half or now or whatever and got your first run in yesterday or whatever. But yeah, like you're feeling pretty good. No injuries.
Yeah, and I think there's something to be said for just kinda we live nowadays, there's so much new technology,
Hmm.
and everyone's got, I mean, I got a Garmin, I love the
Yeah.
Garmin,
Yeah.
but,
Same.
um, so many got people, ultra runners who are getting into it are really just like, this person said do this, so that therefore I'm gonna do that, and I think there's a lot of wisdom in the fact that everyone's different, and if you find what works for you, like some people, it's gonna work for them to follow a plan with a coach, whatever. If that works for them, great. But if I try to replicate that, that probably won't work for me. Um, I mean, think of David Roche. He found out what works for
Hmm.
him.
Yeah.
But
Right.
if everyone tried to follow his program,
Yeah.
it'd work for a couple folks. But um, so for me, understanding how my body works, and um, I I'll share with you some more good wisdom from my dad. He has a
Yeah.
saying called patience and hydration. That's all you need.
Mm.
It's patience and hydration with ultra running, and he even says that to his guys who are racing 10Ks, and I really like that because that's all I was thinking. When I was like, even in my 100-mile week, I felt a little twinge on my IT band, and
Mm.
I was like, "Oh, man, if I can't get through a 100-mile week with,"
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
um, but I just took the next couple days easy. I was like, "Alright, I still got a month or 2, like, just patience and hydration," and I
yeah.
I extrapolated that through the whole run, and as long as you can get to the end of the day and be able to do it again the next day, you don't have to think about anything else,
Oh,
you
I
know?
love that. Patience and hydration, that's so great. Totally a lesson I learned back in December when I got hurt, and
Oh, yeah?
it's so hard to be patient, man, because you're just, like I said, you could be going along, collecting some miles, doing really good, having some great weeks, and I
Mm.
I was training for a 100-mile race, and, yeah, and I was training to run to Oregon from Arcata with some buddies, and was putting this whole thing together. Well, I went out on one 20-miler and bam, just my IT band went to my knee. I had an IT issue a few months before. It went to my knee. I got runner's knee really bad. I couldn't really lift up and I had to sit out. And it's so hard to have that, like that FOMO. You watch everybody on Strava, you watch everybody on wherever social media, and they're all getting out there having adventures that you were supposed to go on, but you can't. And of course, those guys ended up running Oregon, and I missed out, but I crewed it. But yeah, but the lesson that was the lesson that I learned. What your dad said exactly, straight up. It was like, have patience. You can't go out and do anything right now. You just gotta like. I
Mm.
know that's what you're used to, but you just gotta chill. And it kind of led me to swimming, which I really enjoyed, which just was like, all right, well, let's do. People start suggesting activities that I could still do that would be great for my knee, and they're like, get out there and swim. I was like, huh, really? And I did, and man, it really helped me. It really saved me, and I was able to bounce back. But yeah, I think patience and hydration. So like something like a 40-day run across the state of California definitely requires hydration, but it requires fueling, like proper fueling. So let's talk about like how you fueled every day, what you ate. I think did you guys get sponsorship from Scratch, or you had a lot of it? I know that.
Yeah, I wouldn't call it a sponsorship,
Yeah,
but, I through a friend of a friend, we
right. That's
we
right.
we got a lot, yeah.
Yeah.
And we also got good advice from some worker at Scratch as well.
Oh, cool.
And yeah, man, I mean, fueling was interesting because I mean, everyone had that question, like, "Hey, what are you eating
Hmm.
out there?"
Yeah.
And I'm like, "Dude, like, mangoes and cookies, like a stellar athlete would."
Hell yeah.
Like, it's just such a funny sport, you know?
It is.
I mean, I'm running 6 hours of the day, 7 hours of the day sometimes, and I was I was supposed to consume 400 calories per hour while I was running. That was
Right.
the recommended amount
Per hour. So that's like
per hour.
3,000 to 4,000 calories while you're running. If you're running 7, 8 hours, something like that, like just
Yeah.
right around 3,000 calories.
Yeah,
And then you're
I would say I was comfortably putting down 5,000 a day.
yeah, because you don't want to be in a caloric deficit too. And like that's wild. That's so much.
And it's funny we're talking about this because like I said, I don't really count. I'd never count calories
Right.
before this, and I was
Yeah.
like, all right, I'm always open to listening to people what they have to say, and I was presumably pretty out of my depth doing something like this. It's such a jump from what I had ever done before.
Yeah.
And I think patience and hydration will get you pretty far, but
Mhm.
it helps to have some experts talk to you, and
Mhm.
I followed their advice for probably 30 days. I was pretty good for 30 days, but once you can start smelling the finish line, man, like
Yeah.
some of that goes out the door, and
Yeah.
um, I think it was important to default to that to default to the advice I was given for the
Mhm.
for the first month. Get my Because if I started like going off book by LA, I was gonna
Mhm.
be in a bad spot.
Yeah.
Um, but I was pretty good up until like the last week, and then I was just getting sick of like I was just getting sick of the product. Really, I was like, I needed different stuff.
Huh.
Because I was eating lots of like just bars and chews,
Right.
and drink mixes. I think the last week I just went straight water. I just needed the taste of real water,
Wow. Yeah.
um, which I think would be pretty frowned upon, but that's what I decided to do because again, I default to knowing my body and knowing what
Right.
I want.
Yeah.
And I mean, I'll give you an example. Like there was one day I was going from Ferndale to Eureka.
Hmm.
It was that day, and the morning was probably one of the hardest like 12-mile stretches of the trip,
Yeah.
and I just felt gross. Um, so I wasn't really eating anything, um, which was just kind of knowing myself. Like if I eat this right now, I'm gonna throw it up, kind of thing.
Yeah.
Um, and I get to the end of the leg, and I was like, dude, Woogie's like I think I just need a full pizza. So I had a full pizza, I had a Red Bull and a chocolate muffin, and then it felt fantastic the rest of the
Yeah.
day.
Because that's what you probably. I mean, sometimes it comes down to like just eating what you normally eat. Like a lot of people try to oversimplify it and like, or not oversimplify it, overdo it and like, oh, I gotta eat
Mm.
all this extra stuff or do all this stuff the night before a race or night before a big run. But it's like sometimes you just gotta stick with what you know and like keep it simple, you know?
I think especially for racing, I think the worst thing you can
Right.
do is change something, you know?
Yeah. Disturb the gut, you know, and then you're like, oh,
Yeah,
I don't feel good on this race. I ate too much. Well, why would you do that? You don't normally do that when you go on your long
right.
runs or whatever. It's like, you know, or if you're gonna start taking goos, you should probably do it a couple of days before, like train with it a little bit, because if you're new to that, new to taking gels and stuff like that, they can definitely mess with
Oh,
you, you
yeah.
know? Yeah.
Yeah, I've heard some hilarious stories,
Oh, yeah.
of folks just, like, trying to do way too much, just
Mhm.
trying to, like, do this. It's like, at the end of the day, like, I think it's the simplest sport. We should
Mhm.
treat that with respect, you know?
Right.
Um, other sports, you need analytics, right? Like, think about how complicated football is and all the coordinators and this and that, and everyone has their job, and it's all so complicated, and there's so much nuance. Like, we're out here running, man.
Yeah.
Like, if you can just, I of all the sports I've ever done, when I'm competing, this is the one I'm smiling in the most. And, like, that in itself is just is the simplicity of it for me. Like,
Mhm.
I dial in my bottles and whatever I'm gonna want at aid stations. I definitely take that all seriously, but it's just what I would do on a regular run. I'm just running a little longer and running a little faster, you know?
No, I love that. That's awesome. Yeah. I love the smile on your face mentality too, because yeah, it's a unique sport in that it's very communal. It is very much you versus you. I don't look at it as like, hey, I'm competing with this guy. We're about to start, and that's it's like not like that at all, really, for me and for most people that are running. It's just
Yeah.
go. It's just going out there and having a good time, and eating some food, drinking some water, and just knowing your body and knowing your it's in your gut, your intuition, knowing what you're doing. I will say like w- my first ultra when I went out and did a 50K, it was interesting because there was a lot of things at aid stations to eat, like
Mhm,
combinations that people would put together, and I would never thought of it, but like
mhm.
dipping watermelon in straight salt and then putting potato chips on it and eating it and being like, that doesn't look good. But then
That's
I ate
awesome.
it and I'm like, that is the best thing right now because I'm so
Yeah.
hungry, or like some guy would just walk up to you and just be like, "Sit down. I'm gonna work on your feet." I'm like, I don't know if I want anyone touching my feet. And he's like, "Trust me, dude. You're gonna love this."
Yeah.
I'm like, "Go ahead." And I'm like, "Oh my god, I don't want to get out of this chair." He's like, "You got to get up and go." And I'm like, "Oh
Yeah.
man." It's just like that's the fun thing. It's such a communal thing, and everyone helps
Awesome.
out, and people support. And um, once you get all that support, like you go out and do a big adventure, like you got all the support when you did yours. Now I feel like, after I've gotten so much support, now it's like I wanna be the support, like, it transfers
Totally.
over. Now I wanna go help all these people that helped me, get where I got, and be there for them too. So, like, it's just so awesome and reciprocal and, like you said from the start, like, how you were inspired by, the hardest geezers run through Africa and
Mm.
he probably inspired so many people to do some crazy
Oh,
adventures,
yeah.
and it's so cool, and like
I think
that's
that's,
what
like, the pinnacle of inspiration right there, you know?
right, and that's what makes running so unique, and that's what makes it so cool. It's accessible for everybody, anybody can just put on a pair of shoes and go do it. It can be expensive down the road when you get into it, but in the beginning, it's not. It's just like get a pair of shoes, maybe some shorts, and get out there and just have a good time and enjoy it. Soak it up. Water's free, drink it and just run your race, and have fun. And yeah, man, and look how far you come.
Exactly.
It's amazing.
Yeah, and I think another cool thing of going back to races is, I learned a lot from other people too,
Yeah.
like you were saying, I like my friend Sam, he does, he does dates with, like, those Trader Joe's,
Oh yeah.
peanut butter pretzels inside.
Oh my God. What?
It's genius,
Wow.
it's great. So it's another beautiful part, like I was saying earlier, like,
Yeah.
some things work for some and other things work for other folks, and, um, yeah, it's just a really cool thing. In my last race I did in November, I did the quad Dipsy for the
Hmm.
second time.
Cool.
Um, uh, it's the Dipsy race, but from it's four loops to set 28 miles. 28 miles with 10,000 feet of climbing, so it's pretty
Yeah.
unforgiving.
Yeah.
Um, and it was the second time doing that race, and it was my second time cramping during that race.
Hmm.
And I had trained, I'd like really tried to do what all the experts said about, how to not cramp. Um, and I'm sure that helps, but nevertheless, I was cramping, like 10 miles to go, and so there's 3 aid stations left. So each time I got to an aid station, I there was just a bucket of salt there, and I would just take a pinch, lick my hand,
Oh, you
and
told me
put it
this.
on
Yeah.
my yeah,
Yeah.
put it on my hand. So for the last 10 miles, I just had salt on my hand, and I was just licking my hand when I needed it, and I probably had a little too much salt, but now I know that that works for me because
Yeah.
I finished well,
Yeah.
so
Totally. Yeah, it might
just
look strange to some seeing somebody
yeah.
running around on trails going, "Ah," but, like,
Yeah.
whatever works, man. Whatever's gonna get you there.
And it puts a smile on my face because, like,
Yeah.
dude, like, what a sport. I'm out here just
Yeah.
licking my hand and surviving just with a bunch of cool people. The way I look at it is like, it's you're racing yourself, you're
Totally.
in a 50K, for example, I try to be patient for 26, 27 miles, and then in the last half hour or whatever, you race whoever's around you, and then you all
Mhm.
laugh about it afterwards and have
Yeah.
a beer. So
And it's
it's
something
a
crazy.
really fun. Yeah, it's really fun.
Yeah. Yeah, I get a real kick. My first ultra was so fun. Well, my first ultra, I had a DNF. Well, let's not talk about the second one. The one I finished, um, what really stood out to me wasn't I mean, it was awesome running the course and everything about it. I have lots to talk about that. But like what really stood out was the end, just sitting there at the finish line and watching everyone finish, watching
Mm.
all the 100Kers come in. I only ran the 55 and watching the 55Kers still come in. I was pretty much dead last on the 55K, so only a few of them. But like just watching all these people finish throughout the night. And it was so supportive. Like at one point, I think I might have told this story before on the pod, but like at one point there was two kids that must have been like 6 and 8 years old and their dad, and they had their blankets on. It was like 10:30 at night, so it was probably past their bedtime, even though it was the weekend. And like, it was getting a little chilly, and they were just waiting for their mom to come through. And I don't think she had ever done an ultra. She did 100K, and
Wow.
badass. And she's just coming through, and they're waiting and waiting, and they're thinking she's gonna be, and they wait more hours, and it's become midnight, and they're still waiting for their mom. And I just like could see the whole story. I mean, I didn't hear any of the words being said between dad and kids, but I knew the story, because as being a father myself, and like they were just up. They were gonna stay up until mom got through and came to the finish line. And when she came, it was just so like heart wrenching to pull the heartstrings. The kids run out, mommy, and she picks them up and she finishes with them. The husband's obviously super proud, and it's just like a good family moment. And that really dawned on me, was like running is for everyone. There's so many people to do it, and so many people that probably thought they would never do something like that, or like had limits on themselves forever, and then they go and they just blow themselves away. They're just like, I cannot believe I just did that, and they
That's
blow
so
their
cool.
families away. Their support, everyone's just like, wow, and like, and anyone really can do it with the right training and just like, you'd be shocked at what you can accomplish in such a short amount of time with just the right training, the right focus, the right discipline, and just the right attitude. Like,
Yeah.
running also is like about mindset. It's not just about the physicality, although that's a big part of it. It's also like having the right mindset and just being like, I'm gonna do this shit. You can't tell me I'm not gonna do this shit. I've been hearing that my whole life that I can't do this or this door is closed, and nope, I'm opening that thing even if it takes, a crowbar. I'm popping that baby open and we're going through it and we're gonna make it happen. And
Mm.
I see this story in so many people and it's just so inspiring. And so that leads me to like when I met you, when you ran with Thomas Nolan, our friend Thomas Nolan. Um,
Legend.
Legend, and he's the one that connected all of us. And then I picked him up that day. You were like, "Oh, we're gonna finish in, Crescent City and up to the border." I was like, "Ah, dude, I gotta figure this out. I gotta get up there." And
Heck yeah.
luckily, my awesome wife allowed me to spend the day with you, on that day, and
Shout out your awesome
yeah,
wife.
on Saturday, right before Mother's Day, and dude, so much fun. Like we park right there at where the 101, 199 meet, and we have 16 miles together.
Mm.
We had Olivia with us. Shout out to Olivia. Shout out to Thomas. And yeah, we took the Elk Valley Road, I think it was, all the way into
Mhm.
Smith River. Stopped at Smith River. Oh, and met some biker ladies.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right, coming down from Seattle to San Diego on a mission, going the other way.
Yeah.
Which I actually saw them in Arcata a couple of days later too. Just
No
drove
kidding.
by. I was like, "Hey, there's the ladies that were," and you guys had a
No
nice
way.
chat. And like, it's just like here we are. What was funny that stuck out that day was like here we are, just like we're hanging by the cars, we're eating some food, we're making our own little aid station in this parking lot of this burger store that wasn't even open that people kept trying to come to, and we're in the middle of like a one like stoplight town, Smith River. There's nothing going on. There's nobody around.
Yeah.
But I felt like we're at the epicenter of adventure because these ladies are coming through, riding bikes from Seattle to San Diego. You're going up, and you'd gone on this long venture of California. This was your last day, and like, it seems like that's probably the thing that happens to this little town a lot. And even the guy that drove by us and was like, "Where are you guys headed? We're going to the border." "Which border?" Like, dude, the border up here that you live by. But
Yeah.
like, so much fun that day. The weather was great. And what I took away at the end, I don't know if I shared this with you in the moment, but like, you were kinda hurting a little bit, like, at the end right there, and you were
Yeah.
feeling pretty sore. I think, like, the last mile or 2, you kinda got a little more. We were chatting the whole way, and having such a good time with each other. I think the last mile or 2, you sorta got a little more quiet, and you were, like, just got laser focused, and you're like, I could tell because I was behind you. You got fast, your pace increased, and you're just like, "I'm finishing this shit. I'm done. I wanna get on the couch." And, like, dude, your cruise the last 2 miles was epic. It was like, boom. Well, he is so determined to, like,
Yeah.
be done. And, like, I think I don't know, you could take me through this, but, like, I feel like you were just like, "Dude, this is the culmination of 40 days running through this beautiful state of California. I'm finishing today. I'm hitting that sign." This is like this has been an epic journey, an epic ride. It's so incredible.
Yeah, man. Well, for context, the last 5 days, I was dealing with, a brutal shin injury.
Yeah,
So I think it would have healed itself if I was just on the couch after that 5th to last day. But I think with, the reality of 140 miles on an injured shin,
yeah.
um, I mean,
God,
when
that
Thomas
hurts. It hurts
dude,
just
like,
talking about it. I'm like, ow.
I mean, when Thomas so this is I don't even know if I've told you guys about this. Thomas calls me up, the morning I'd never met him before, the morning of the Thursday, so I had 3 days to go, um, and he's like, "Hey, like, I'd love." He DMs me on Instagram, calls me on Instagram. He's like, "Hey, like, I'd love to run the morning with you," and I was like, "Yeah, come on out, like, whenever." I was still in bed at that point. I go to get down off the bed, and I couldn't put, pressure on my right foot.
Wow.
So I had So now the thoughts going through my head is like, all right, I got 75, 80 miles to go, and I can't put pressure on my right foot. So those last couple days were nerve wracking. So I'd say
Yeah.
that I just had to, you know, besides patience and hydration, ultra running is also problem solving, right?
Right, right.
And I had to do so much problem solving over 40 days, and each what I love about it is each unique challenge has its own unique solution. And so for that, it was just like, all right, man, I got an hour to just warm this thing up. Um, and so I just had to kind of loosen it up. I just had to eat breakfast and hope for the best. Took some Advil and meeting Thomas and hearing his stories. I mean, this guy's rad. He's done so
Mhm,
much cool stuff.
mhm.
Oh, like I was definitely more warm by the time we were going to start running, and I knew I could run, but I felt a lot smoother because I was running with this guy, and it's almost like, oh man, I got a cool ultra runner I'm running with. I got to look cool in front of this guy. And then the rest of the day, once he left, was brutal. Like, and you can't really put this on. You can't show this on 1 minute snippets on Instagram daily. But I'm really excited for the documentary because I think it's going to show the last 5 days and just how hard it was.
Yeah.
A lot better. Um, if I back up way further, forgive me for rambling here, but
No.
the first probably like days 6 through 10. So this is like exiting LA all the way to Santa Barbara.
Okay.
Those days were tough because I had what I'm calling growing pains. So it started with like the left IT band, and then I was running funky, so it was the right hip, and then it was this one day I had this really gnarly pain, like acute pain right underneath my right kneecap.
Ugh.
That was really affecting me. And so through all those days, I just had to problem solve, problem solve, problem solve. Once I reached Santa Barbara, I think it was like day 11 or something, or 12. I had this big mountainous day where I went over the Santa Barbara hills and then over into the other side. I left the coast again for a bit. Felt awesome. And I felt like theoretically, I felt great from then until Ferndale.
Really?
So yeah, it was like 3.5 weeks, honestly, of pretty low. I was pretty low maintenance. I mean, I didn't go a single day where I felt like it was a walk in the park the whole day. Of course
Yeah,
not.
yeah.
Um, but it wasn't anything I hadn't experienced before. And then when I got so I was cruising, and there's a 3-day section from like the Lost Coast to Ferndale, basically,
Mhm.
where the Saturday was he was yeah, Saturday was, the southern Lost Coast section. I didn't do the trail because that, goes up to 2,000 feet, then down to
Right,
sea
right,
level.
right, right.
I stayed on Usal Road, which is,
Okay.
it gets up to that elevation and then kinda stays there. It's
Mhm.
up and down, but far less elevation. Anyway, that day, which was 35 miles without the van, because the van
Mhm.
couldn't go on the road.
Oh, wow.
Then I got into Shelter Cove. Then the next day, my brother joined and did the beach section of Lost Coast in a day with me,
Sick.
um, which was just fun to have him out there
Yeah.
feeling great this whole time. Uh, and then get to Mattole Campground, the end of the Lost Coast. And then Monday was another big day because it was 35 miles, which is an extra hour basically you're adding on with more big climbs, but this time on roads. So it was like these 3 really diverse days that were tough in their own way. I would say they were the 2nd, 3rd, and 5th hardest days back to
Mm.
back to back, just on paper. But I
Wow.
felt awesome. Like I was in that day, that Monday, just 2 Mondays ago, I think that was my best I've ever felt running doing something hard, and I felt awesome. So to be hit now back on the flats
Yeah.
with like not, on paper, not a lot left to conquer, 140
Mhm.
miles,
Mhm.
5 days, like, I can do this.
Mhm.
Um, and to have all the problems happen then was really interesting and really unique. And
Oh,
I
yeah.
really hope that the documentary can show all that. I hope we can do a good job of that.
Do you feel like at any point with those last 130 whatever miles, did you almost feel like you might have to call it?
Yes.
Really?
Um, 2 days left.
No
Yeah.
way.
So I get into Klamath.
This was the day after you ran with Thomas.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I finished in Klamath that night,
Right.
Thursday night, and
Uh-huh.
so Friday morning I wake up and it's even worse. I couldn't put pressure on my foot for basically until I began running. Um,
Wow.
and I mean, Woogie's is looking at me like, "Oh, you'll be able to figure it out, like whatever." And at this point, it's like all the common, like all the no amount of scratch or 400
Yeah.
calories an hour thing. That's not going to help me at this point. It was Advil. It was
By the way, that Advil when we were running was just like shaking in your running
dude.
vest, like for miles. That's all I heard. It
Yeah.
was like rhythmic. It like kept me in rhythm the whole time. I was like, phew.
Yeah, I
Anyway,
apologize
yeah.
for the
No,
noise.
no, it was all good. It was hilarious. It was all good. Yeah, but
Yeah, dude.
Advil for sure.
I mean, I didn't use Advil for the first 35 days kind of by design because I didn't want, like, an easy way out in the first the
Sure.
first weeks because I wanted to have a good base of, like, kind of I don't know what you call it, like, the clean, the by the book way, right? Where
Sure.
I'm just you know, I didn't have any energy drinks until the last week, and then it was every day. 'Cause
Yeah.
once because then it's just like, I'm tired. I feel I'm almost at the end, like, I have to get up again and do another 50K. I thought I was almost done. Like, give me a
Yeah.
Red Bull. Um, but by that point, it was like all conventional wisdom was out of the window, and the last 2 days by design were shorter days. So I had a 24-mile day from Klamath to Crescent City and then 16 miles to the end. So I knew I was, like, right there, but I told so at this point, my brother came on from the Lost Coast, and he was there till the end. He was filming and running and,
Right.
just helping Woogies out, which was, I think, much needed at that point because, Woogies was stretched very thin. He was just doing an incredible job.
Right.
So I I told them because they had 2 cars. I was like, "Hey, guys, like, I'm gonna need some extra stops today." The course was, like, 9 miles to on 101, and so 9 miles to where I hop on a trail, and then it drops me in and then into Crescent kinda southern Crescent City, then I'm just running on some roads till the end, and the so the 9 miles, I'm like, "Guys, I can't like, at this pace, 9 miles is at least 2 hours because I'm hobbling, like,
Yeah.
at best, I'm hobbling,
Right.
and I don't wanna be without a van for that long." So, we actually went to, like, the Paul Revere, little statue.
Yeah. Right.
I'm sure you and
Oh
maybe
yeah.
5 others know that.
Yeah. We know it. Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. The blue
Um,
ox and yep.
yep. That was like a 4 or 5 mile section, and so I'm like,
Right.
"Alright, I'm just gonna, like, give myself an hour here, as soon as the first hour, then I'm gonna get the van." So, it was just like that was my solution for that morning,
Okay.
was just an extra stop, and I was, like, really hobbling, it's definitely not good for my shin. My shin's still a little puffy, um but the rest of my body felt so good because I was
Yeah.
like I mean, my heart rate didn't exceed 120
Hmm.
for the last 4 weeks of this trip.
Yeah.
Like,
Good.
I was just, like, really steady state, feeling really good, and just, like but yes, very, very nervous,
Yeah.
about if I could do 40 more miles. I mean,
Yeah.
there was a 800-mile section, like I said, that was pretty smooth, and then you get to the last 40, and you're like, "Well, regardless of what I've done, with a puffy shin, 40 miles is a lot, you know?"
Yeah. Totally is a lot. It's a lot no matter what.
Yeah,
Um,
totally.
Man, and one thing I would say about that too that I observed. So your mom was out on Saturday, and that was great. And
Yeah.
you could tell that she wasn't a regular mom, like with concerns. She was more like I could tell that she probably has crewed your dad on some of those
Mm.
Western States runs and ultras because I can't remember exactly what she said to me and Olivia and Thomas, but she was kind of like the basic bottom message was don't let him stop, let him, like, at some point we were like after we had left Smith River, it's like just keep him moving, like he needs to finish, he needs to get done with it, he needs to be
Awesome.
done with this, that kind of mentality, which that
Yeah.
mentality only comes from like having crewed or paced or whatever in the past, like you don't just have that mentality. You have more like a concern, like, well, he should stop if he's hurt, or like, it's like
No,
he
yeah.
needs to just finish this thing. Oh, that was pretty cool coming from your mom. You know?
Oh, yeah, my mom is so cool, man.
Yeah.
She, like I mean, I could go so many different directions with how cool she is, but one thing I would say is she does an incredible job of, like, having both adding the maternal instincts to the group
Mm,
and also understanding that, like, I'm here to push my limits, and
yeah.
that's okay, and that's important, and she's definitely had experience, yeah, she's crewed Western states countless times and
Yeah.
been in that scene. um I mean, when I did my first 50K, it wasn't even a race. It was during COVID. This is kinda how I got into ultra running.
Okay.
Me and my 2 best friends, we did a 50K just on Mount Tam in Marin County. Our own course. And that was a huge thing for us at that time.
Yeah.
And she came out to one of like, the 20-mile mark and then the 26-mile mark and, like, had some stuff out, and she had the whole setup going. She went above and beyond, and that's when I found out about Advil. Like, she was like, "Here, take this," like,
Yeah.
and then we felt awesome, like, she saved the day there. So, yeah, she
Nice.
talked about support in the group, and, like,
Yeah.
I talked about Max and Ava and my brother, but, like, man, my mom, like and so much behind the scenes too, like
Yeah.
on day 26, I came into my hometown of Fairfax, and she put on this huge potluck,
Nice.
and, like, coordinated with some of her friends, and, like, we got a really cool group coming out to support me, and that just, like that was awesome, man. Like,
Yeah. And she got the support group there at the finish line too, all those people that came from Crescent City randomly and wherever.
yeah, man.
That was cool.
She went online and found, like and found some folks who were, like, activists with
Right.
Gaza, found them from a city meeting that they were, like, protesting, like, a year ago, found them online, invited them out. Yeah, just, man, can't say enough good stuff about my
That's
mom, just,
cool.
like, such a good support group. Yeah.
Okay, so let's get down to we got a few more minutes here. I want to ask a couple more questions.
Sure.
So in the end, what was the final number of money raised, and where is it exactly going to? Can you
Mhm.
tell people about that?
Yeah, of course. So, as of now, we just reached $120,000.
God, dang, that's so good.
Um, yeah, which
$120,000. That's a lot
yeah.
of contributions. 40 days.
It
That's
is, man. I
amazing.
mean, there's so many people that decided to chip in, and like each and every person, I feel so thankful for doing that.
And you had people doing, like, virtual 5Ks and stuff like that on the last day, right, and stuff like that? Like,
Yeah,
there was people all over the world, right?
yeah, man. It was so cool. There was a group in Dublin, Ireland, who ran a 5K for me, or with us, and there was a group in like Arizona. Yeah, so some other folks just around the country. I think some folks in Canada. Just like really touching that this would be able to happen.
Yeah,
And just real quickly, like I think running is so powerful because it can. It's such a it was such a starting point for so many people, and so many people told me like that I was a big inspiration because, you know, they found me because of the running, but they learned a lot also
that's
about
awesome.
what's going on in the real world. And anyway, the money is going towards the Rantisi Hospital, and
Okay.
it's in Gaza City. Right now, it is one of the only functional hospitals left. Um, a family friend who is Sandy, who's just been back from Gaza, the lactation consultant, said that not a single building right now in Gaza has not been shelled or bombed, which is just really, really heavy, and
Yeah,
took a bit to sit with that. Um, and this project itself is specifically for the rehabilitation of a a, a children's hospital.
wow,
So it's getting kids and their mothers the help they need. It's just everything over there is super underfunded. There's no resources. Nothing's been allowed in since March 2nd, which is,
right,
a
yeah,
month before my run even began. Um, and so the money is going to be going to three specific units: endocrinology, gastroenterology, and I should know this at this point, but
No, no, it's great.
three different sections of the hospital, as well as funding for mental health
Mm.
concerns. About 100% of the folks there have
Yeah.
mental health issues at this
I
point.
mean, yeah, just ugh, God.
Unbelievable.
Unreal.
Yeah, it's truly yeah, I guess a cause worth running for, is how I'd put it. But
100%.
there the the hospital, right now, there's some humanity auxilium workers who are there, who are doing work there, and so the money is going to build and to have some important supplies there, um, as well as they what humanity auxilium does is train locals and pays locals to work as well. So,
Wow.
um, try to help give local Palestinians the skills they need to help each other, and hopefully that'll, once hopefully this ends as soon as possible, they'll have the skills they need moving forward.
Wow. Amazing, man. Such inspiring work, man. That is just taking something that you're so passionate about and
Mhm.
turning into that and being able to help a really in such an important cause right now. That's just like that's man, blows me away, man. Blows me away. Try not to get emotional about it. That's just so great, dude. I'm so proud of
Thank you.
you and all your work and what you did over the last 40 days is just and the inspiration that it brought to so many people is just dude, it's so empowering. Like I don't know. That's beyond it's beyond words. It's amazing. It's really amazing that you did that.
Thank you.
Um
And it's not over. I'll say that.
yeah,
Our fundraiser is still going.
good.
We have a goal of getting to 150,000.
Okay.
Um, and we're gonna keep it open up until and probably a little bit after we release the docs. So,
Okay.
um,
Tell me about
it
that because I know you're wearing the shirt.
yeah.
There you go. Miles for Humanity,
Yes,
right?
sir.
Yeah, there it is. So there'll
Yeah,
be
so
link. How can people get in touch with you if they want to donate or if they want to just learn more about your story, what everything that we just talked about? Like, how can people get in touch with you?
yeah, man. So my Instagram is where all this the whole story is. It's kind of I like kind of looking back through it because I mean Woogie's did such a good job with the video content.
Hmm.
It's kind of a good little archive of the run. My Instagram's my name Otis N is my middle name, as in Neil Lyons. Otis N Lyons, Lyons with a Y. Um,
So that's at OTISNLYONS.
yes.
That's where you go on Instagram and you straight up they just DM you or there's links probably in your bio too.
Yeah, so the donation link is in my bio, but hey, feel free to DM me.
Yeah.
I love interacting with folks. Like I respond to everything. So,
Yeah.
um,
Totally.
and it's not like I have a massive following or anything. It's
Yeah.
a small community, but enough people have found it and shared it widely. And I never did this for the Instagram likes. Like I
Yeah.
never did it for the follows. I never did it for any of that. Um, but I am active on there and I love interacting with people. So
Yeah.
definitely hit me up.
I was gonna say, as a spiritual person myself, I always love the idea of the mustard seed that can move the mountains, and I feel like you are the mustard seed, my friend. What you're doing, yeah, it might seem small. You might have a small support group right now and all that, but you guys are moving mountains, and just be able to do what you did to raise six figures, to raise, and you'll get the 150. I know you will
Yeah.
to raise that much money for children and people in need over there in Gaza, it's just so inspiring. I can't say enough about it, man. It's just like so awesome. It's so empowering to hear that something like that. There's just good in the world like that, man. Really cool.
Thank you.
I'm so
Thanks so much.
stoked that I got to meet you. Like it's just like thanks to Thomas, who's he's one of my best friends. Um, he just was like, hey, he called me that day and he was just like, are you gonna be working today? I'm like, he knew. I don't know if he knew, but I was like gonna be working in that area, and I was like, yeah,
Mm,
yeah. Well, maybe I get a ride back. I'm gonna go run with this guy Otis. I'm like, and he told me all about your story and everything. I'm like, yeah, cool, dude. I'll be there to pick you up. But then that led to like, hey, let's run with him on his last day. I'm like, dude, yeah, nothing better. I would love to do. Let's do it.
it's
And
awesome.
I had such a fun day. I'm I'm still vibing off that day. It was so fun. Well, first of all, running with Olivia and Thomas, I do that a lot, and they're just awesome people. And then to meet you and run with you and know your whole
Mhm.
crew, and like to watch you finish, like, that was super cool. Like, you just slam that sign. You're like, yeah, it's so cool. And having the support group there and everything. Um, yeah, man, it just led me to like want to do more adventures, and I've been shouting it out now for every episode that I've recorded since we decided this, but I'm going to shout it out again. We are doing a San Francisco run. It's a 24-hour tour of San Francisco. Otis is in the Bay Area, so
I'll be there.
he's going to be there.
Book it.
We're holding him to it, so it's going to be
Heck
I
yeah.
think it's going to be the weekend of August 2nd, 3rd. So if anyone watching this or listening to this wants to come down and run any portion of this fun run, it's just a total there's nothing official about it. We're just gonna go meet probably 6 a.m. the Golden Gate and run 24 hours. And you can run an hour, you can run whatever you want, but you'll probably get a chance to meet this guy if you come and share some miles. But
I'm planning on doing the 24, Pete. Let's
I
do
know
it.
you are, bro. I know you are. Yeah, it's gonna be so
Yeah.
epic. We're gonna
Speed
have a
runners being goofy. Let's do
dude.
it.
It's gonna be a party.
I love it.
6 a.m.
I
to
love it.
6 a.m. We're gonna be running all through the
I'm
streets
so
of San
stoked.
Francisco, hitting, and he'll probably show us all the good times, show us all the good places to go, and
I'll do my best.
it's gonna be great. But man, I really appreciate your time today. So awesome. That was a story just worth hearing. And so everyone, go to his Instagram page right now. It's at Otis N Lyons, spelled OtisNLYONS. He has in the bio, you can see the links, and if you can donate, even if you can only donate 10, 20, 15 bucks, whatever, donate to this cause, because I know there's a lot of people that are watching this podcast right now that feel helpless, hopeless about what's going on in Gaza, that they can't do anything about it, that they don't want to get involved because it's too much of a conflict to get involved with. They don't know what to do, and they just pray every day. Well, here's a direct way that you can make a difference. Okay, here's a direct way that you can help. I mean, this money is going to go straight up. He told you it's going to go straight up to a hospital there that needs it. And they're not getting anything right now. They're blocking all their funding. Everything they've been trying to get has been blocked since March. I mean,
March 2nd.
help. This is going to help people. And if you have any humanity in your heart, go to his Instagram page, connect with him, hit that link and donate. I'm going to do it today.
Thank you. And if you have nothing to give, if you don't have any money to give, share it.
Share it.
You can
Exactly.
be a mustard seed of your own.
That's
like, really.
right. Thank you. That's exactly it.
Yeah, I mean, people who have said, "Hey, I can't really part with any of my money right now. I understand it's hard times, but hey, I shared it, and then all of a sudden the next day I got $1,000 more. Like that, it's really
Dude.
like the power. We're using social media for good here. Like we really want to try to.
You
do
really
that.
are, man. That's so cool. And in a social media world that's likes to highlight a lot of the negativity in the world, this is a beacon of light. It's pretty awesome. Well, man, I'm gonna let you go. We're gonna chat again soon. We're definitely gonna hit up San Francisco together in a couple months. I can't wait. And
Look for it.
We'll get you back on the pod again soon for sure. And I'm sure you got another adventures that are cooking up at some point, so we can talk about that. But yeah, man, I hope you have an awesome day out there, and you're just getting back to running again. So good luck with this week.
Appreciate
hope you got
it.
plenty of
We'll see how
rest.
it goes.
Yeah, man. Yeah. All right, man. Thanks again. So that was my guest, Otis Lyons here. Ran the entire state of California. Pretty awesome for such an awesome cause. Go check out his Instagram page. Go support. And all right, man. Well, till the next time.
Thanks so much for having me, Pete.
Thank you. Thanks for checking out the Grit Podcast. That was episode 21. You'll be seeing the Grit Podcast dropped every Saturday. So go check it out. This episode will probably be out in a couple weeks after we just recorded. But yeah, I appreciate everyone's support. You can check it out on Spotify. You can also check it out on YouTube. The links are in my bio on the Instagram page at The Grit Podcast with Pete Ciotti. Thanks again to my guest, Otis Lyons. Y'all have a good one. Peace.